In a faraway kingdom, surrounded by silver rivers and soft rolling hills, there lived a young prince named Rowan. The kingdom he called home was peaceful and bright, filled with people who loved music, festivals, and stories told under lantern light. Everyone adored the prince, not for his crown or his title, but because of the warmth in his smile and the kindness in his heart. Yet, for all his joy, Prince Rowan felt a gentle longing inside him. He dreamed of finding someone to share his life with, a princess who was tender, honest, and gentle, not just any princess in a gown, but someone whose heart glowed with kindness and compassion. So, when he turned 18, Prince Rowan set off on a journey to different kingdoms, determined to find a true princess. He visited grand palaces with marble staircases and shimmering fountains. He visited snowy castles perched on mountains so high they touched the clouds. He visited islands where silk-draped halls swayed with the sea. Everywhere he went, he met princesses. Some were beautiful. Some were clever. Some laughed loudly and danced wonderfully. But none felt quite right. Some prince or another whispered, "She is not truly kind." Another courtier would say, "She does not speak from the heart." Though the prince didn't judge, he sensed the same truth. Something was missing. Their words were polished, but their hearts felt distant. By the end of the year, Prince Rowan returned home with heavy footsteps and a heavier heart. The people welcomed him warmly, yet even their cheer could not brighten his mood. The queen, a wise and gentle woman, noticed right away. "My son," she said softly one evening as they sat near the fire, "why does your face look like a cloud before rain?" Rowan sighed and looked into the flames. "I've traveled so far, mother. I've met princesses from every corner of the world, but something in my heart tells me none of them were the one." The queen nodded as though she had expected this. "My dear boy," she said, taking his hand, "kindness cannot be worn like a crown. Gentleness cannot be declared with a title. A true princess shows goodness not in her clothes, but in her heart. When you meet her, you will know." The prince smiled a little, comforted yet uncertain. He didn't know that his answer would arrive much sooner than he imagined. One night, just as the sun dipped behind the hills and the shadows stretched long across the courtyard, strange clouds gathered over the kingdom. They twisted and curled, darker than charcoal. A warm wind swept across the village, rattling shutters and swinging open old wooden gates. Thunder grumbled. Lightning flashed. And soon the sky erupted in a mighty storm. Rain poured in sheets so thick they looked like silver curtains dancing across the land. The castle guards hurried around, closing the gates and protecting the torches, while the king and queen looked out from their tall windows at the wild weather. Prince Rowan stood at the balcony, the wind whipping his cloak behind him. "Such a storm feels unusual," he said quietly. The queen joined him, resting a hand on his shoulder. "Storms sometimes bring unexpected blessings." As if on cue. Boom, boom, boom. A loud pounding echoed through the castle gate, nearly swallowed by the roaring wind. The guards hurried to the entrance. When they heaved open the heavy doors, a girl stood there, soaked through and shivering. Her hair clung to her cheeks, and her dress, once lovely, was now muddy, torn, and dripping. But her face, oh, her face! She had kind eyes, soft and full of hope despite the storm. She clasped her hands politely and said in the gentlest voice, "Please, may I enter? I am a princess, but I lost my way in the storm." The guard stared in surprise. She didn't look like a princess, not in that weather-beaten state, but something about the way she held herself, the way she spoke, and the respectful bow she gave made them feel she was telling the truth. They hurried her inside. The queen rushed forward at the sight of the trembling girl. "Oh, my dear child, come, sit by the fire. You must be freezing." She wrapped her in warm blankets. Servants brought hot tea, and Prince Rowan offered a towel with a shy smile. "Thank you," the girl said softly, her voice still polite even in discomfort. As she warmed herself
Dear,
by the
how
hearth,
did you
she
sleep?
whispered her name,
Not
Princess
very well, I'm
Eleonora.
afraid. I
But
had
whether
the
she
most
was truly a
unsettling
princess or
dreams.
simply
Dear,
a
how
gentle
did you
girl from
sleep?
another land, no
Not
one
very
could be
well, I'm
sure.
afraid. I
"Eleonora,"
had the
he
most
said, voice
unsettling
calm but
dreams.
full of emotion, "when you arrived at our gates, I felt as though the storm carried you to us. I searched the world for a princess who was kind, patient, gentle, and true, and I found you right here, not in grand halls or distant palaces, but soaked in rain and shining with sincerity." He took her hands gently. "Will you stay? Will you be the princess of this kingdom, and perhaps, someday, my queen?" Eleanora's smile brightened like dawn. "Yes," she whispered, "I will stay. I will be your princess, and your friend for all the days to come." The kingdom celebrated for a week, with dancing, singing, lanterns, and feasts, children wore crowns of flowers, and musicians filled the night with joyful melodies. The queen placed the tiny pea inside a glass treasure box, where it remained for generations. It became a symbol of something important. True gentleness is powerful, real kindness is felt, not seen, and a true princess is known not by jewels, but by her heart. Prince Rowan and Princess Eleonora lived in harmony, ruling with fairness and compassion. Their kingdom grew more joyful than ever before. And every year, on the anniversary of the great storm, they placed lanterns on the river and watched them float into the distance, lights of gratitude for the night that brought them together. Children adored her because she sat with them to hear their stories. Servants respected her because she treated them with kindness. The king and queen admired her grace, and Prince Rowan, day by day, found himself liking her more and more. They walked together through the gardens, feeding the doves. They read books under the old willow tree. They talked about adventure, dreams, fears, and hopes. Eleonora spoke about her old kingdom, a small peaceful place far away. She had left to learn more about the world beyond her palace. When the storm struck, she had taken shelter in the woods until she saw the lights of Rowan's castle. Prince Rowan listened with admiration. A princess who travels, who braves storms and still smiles, how remarkable, he said. Eleonora blushed warmly. I only wanted to understand more of the world. A princess should know her people and the places beyond her borders. Every conversation revealed more of her gentle heart. Soon the entire kingdom whispered, "Our prince has found someone truly special. My dear, I hope you rested well?" Princess Eleonora sat up slowly. Her eyes were tired, but her voice remained delicate and polite. "Thank you for your kindness, truly." The blankets were soft, and the room was beautiful, but I'm afraid, she hesitated, embarrassed, I hardly slept at all. Something very small and hard was beneath the bed. I know it sounds silly, but it felt like a tiny stone. The queen gasped. The king nodded knowingly. And Prince Rowan blinked in amazement. The queen clasped her hands with joy. "My dear child," she said with warm affection, "only someone with the gentlest spirit could feel a tiny pea beneath so many layers. You truly are a princess, one with a heart soft enough to sense even the slightest discomfort." Princess Eleonora blushed shyly. "I only said what I felt," she murmured. Prince Rowan felt a spark in his chest, a quiet understanding, like the soft warmth of sunlight. This girl was humble, kind, sensitive not just to her own discomfort, but to the feelings of everyone she met. Every servant she had thanked, every blanket she had folded neatly, every smile she had offered, even through the storm. He knew at once, she was the princess he had been searching for. Inside the box was a single tiny green pea. Not a magical pea, not a glowing pea, just an ordinary little garden pea. Yet the queen believed in an old truth. A real princess, raised with tender care and gentle sensitivity, could feel even the smallest discomfort beneath many layers. For a kind heart feels the world more deeply than others. The queen nodded to herself and carried the pea upstairs. She called the servants and whispered instructions. Very soon, they began building the tallest bed the castle had ever seen. First, they placed the pea on the bottom of the bed frame, then, 1 mattress, 2 mattresses, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 20 soft mattresses stacked high. The servants puffed and sweated as they lifted each one. When the mattresses were finally stacked, they layered 20 feather blankets on top, creating a mountain of softness. The queen inspected it proudly. "If she is a true princess," she whispered, "this bed will tell us." Meanwhile, Princess Eleonora was led into the grand guest room. When she saw the enormous bed, her jaw dropped a little. "That is quite high," she said with a tired laugh. "Use the ladder, my dear," the servant said cheerfully. Eleonora climbed up carefully, thanked the servants politely, and curled beneath the covers. Within minutes, the castle dimmed into silence, save for the soft drip of rain outside. But as the night passed, something was terribly wrong. Princess Eleonora tossed, she turned, she wiggled, she adjusted her pillow, she aligned the blankets. But something poked her back, something so small she couldn't understand it, yet it kept waking her again and again. She didn't complain, but the discomfort burrowed through 20 mattresses, nudging her awake each time she drifted off. By dawn, she looked exhausted. The king and queen exchanged thoughtful glances. They wanted to trust her, yet many people had falsely claimed to be royalty before. The queen placed a hand over her heart. "There is a way to know for certain," she said quietly to herself. Late that night, after Princess Eleonora had finished her tea and smiled gratefully at every servant who helped her, the queen quietly slipped away to the castle storeroom. She walked past old tapestries, chests full of letters, and crates of forgotten trinkets until she reached a small wooden box on a shelf. Morning sunlight poured into the castle with golden warmth. The queen entered the guest room with a gentle smile. The storm passed, leaving the kingdom bright and fresh. Birds sang across the courtyards. The gardens shimmered with raindrops like tiny jewels. Princess Eleonora stayed in the castle as an honored guest, and the people loved her from the moment they met her. One sunny morning, Prince Rowan stood before Princess Eleonora beneath the blooming apple trees. Butterflies fluttered around them, and a soft breeze carried the scent of fresh blossoms.